Welcome back to another episode of Convin Conversations. I'm your host, Ashish Santhalia. In every episode this season, we have been diving deep into how India's leading consumer brands are transforming customer experience using AI, data, and technology. Today's guest is someone who has seen that transformation firsthand. And at India's one of the most trusted financial institutions, IIFL, from traditional finance to a tech-led and customer-first organization, IIFL has built a reputation for trust, innovation, and accessibility. So today we are talking about how a legacy financial brand continues to stay human in an age of algorithms, how they're using AI and automation without losing empathy. Please welcome Dharmender Narang, who is the Chief Customer Experience Officer at IIFL Capital Services. And his journey spans over 30 years across multiple aspects of capital market, from custodial services and back office operations to relationship management, and now leading customer experience for millions of investors. Thank you so much for joining, Dharmendra. Great to have you here.
It has been great and a privilege to be part of your podcast. And I have been quite impressed with your previous podcast also.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. So, Dharmendra, let's start from the very beginning. Before AI, before automation, can you tell us a bit about your own journey? How did you get into financial services, and what has kept you for so long into this?
Okay. I started my career with the Stockholding Corporation of India Limited, which is at that time was the largest custodial services in India, handling most of the institutions. And the biggest advantage of joining there was the culture of that organization was to actually train the people. So we were the freshers out of the colleges and never heard of share market. And they took us through almost 1.5 years of training in almost all the parts and all the back-end operations, and how we got to know most of the training what we get there has helped across my previous 30 years, whether you talk about customer relationship, how to handle institutional clients, how to handle settlements, corporate, every area they have given you the training on. So that is when we learn the importance of the training. And then I spent almost 10 years there where I have handled the institutional piece. Then we have seen the migration to depositories. And then we have seen the migration from depositories. I moved on to banking. And banking is a different ballgame where we have learned basically that how you handle the compliance piece of it, especially AML compliance, which becomes very, very critical. And then that is one area where I have learned how BCP is important. So far at that level, BCP was never in much of importance. Once you join banking, the BCP becomes very, very critical. And there, when I moved to Sintel, the most that is more of a outsourcing company, where I have learned that what is the importance of SLAs, what is SLA adherence, how the process transition happens from outside to India. That is another piece of learning which I have got. And then finally, when I moved to Motilal Oswal Securities, from where my customer experience journey started. Probably from there on, it has now completely, landscape has changed from the technology piece of it, where we today talk about AI, we talk about Gen AI and Angelic and everything else.
What I think is that that's really amazing in terms of the journey that you have had, Dharmendra, right? So it seems like you have been part of an industry that has seen one of the biggest transformations from maybe paper forms and branch revolutions to instant loans and apps, right? What was the one turning point in your career, or maybe in the complete journey that you have had, that made you think that finance is going to change forever?
See, if you look at, there has been number of points where you feel there has been a major change in the whole scenario. The first part is when the introduction of depository happened, when you went into DMAT actually. When you talk about paperless transactions, when you talk about the paper going out of the system, that was the first turning point. Second change you look at when probably that IoT things comes in, Internet scheme of things, where the Internet has become the thing and everything start going into technology and website development. Third changes took place when COVID came, and after COVID, probably everything has changed.
Mm.
So this is the biggest turning
Yeah.
point, I think.
Mm. And COVID was the most important accelerator, you would say,
From
where a lot
technology
of things
perspective,
moved.
yes. But if you look at the overall journey, the
Okay.
biggest turning point was when you went into a demat thing, when it becomes paperless, the participation has started
Hmm.
increasing. And the biggest
Yeah.
drawback was when your financial crisis has happened in 2008 around, when the whole market
Yeah.
crashed. Then people went out of the system and
Yeah.
all. After that, it has been a very slow
Yeah.
process. But the COVID,
Mm.
what has happened is basically it has attuned everybody to the technology and especially online. And e-commerce has taken a
Mm.
big boost. So because people are at home, they can't
Mm.
go outside. So irrespective of the age, everybody has become
Mm.
very, I would say, savvy to the technology. So that becomes a game changer
Mm.
because then whole industry, including regulators, start thinking about technology. They have started doing
Mm.
everything online. They started doing your KYC, digital onboarding. Everything started after that. So people outlook has changed.
Mm.
So the escalation, if you talk about,
Mm.
has happened after COVID. When you talk about technology changes,
Mm.
second level
Mm.
of boost has happened when Gen AI has come. It has disrupted the
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
not only positive, negatively
Mm.
also, but yes, but it has
Mm.
uh, make everything so fluid that you sometimes it becomes difficult to differentiate between the real and the fake. So that is where we stand today, where your security
Mm.
becomes precedingly important than anything else.
It's absolutely right, what you're saying. So finance has always been on built on trust, right? So with so many new age fintechs coming in, and customers today have hundreds of choices, right? Uh,
Yes,
what does trust mean to you, and how has it evolved for you over the period in time?
I think trust is more important than ever before. If you
Mm.
look at that, uh, now processes are faster, there are multiple channels, channels are much smarter, data
Yeah.
is richer.
Yeah.
Um, Now CX today is no longer that you look at turnaround time or look at digital touch points. Now you
Mm.
have to use the technology to make the customer feel secure.
Mm. Mm.
You have to understand that you are able to understand the customer more and make him more confident on your systems.
Yeah.
That is the biggest challenge as of today for any leader because
Mm.
now you have to understand the emotion of the customer through technology. It is just not behavior of the customer, but are you able to emotionally connect to him? So
Mm.
secondly is that it is just not the complaint handling, but how you can be more compassionate, how you
Mm.
get the empathy through the machine. So see, now your transactions have increased, your scalability has increased. So keeping that human touch has become more critical than ever before. Earlier, it was expected that customer person is available and he'll talk to you. But
Yeah.
second is when machine is available, then how you will ensure that same empathy is available, how you
Mm.
ensure that human touch is available, how you ensure because that is the only thing gives the trust.
Mm.
The trust it is like how you can listen him better.
Okay. Okay.
That is see biggest now it is more of a cultural change than the technology change. So you have to change with the technology and your culture has to align to it. So
Fair point. Fair point. And
technology technology is something which can actually win you the customers, but
true.
trust will keep them.
Yeah, absolutely. So trust basically then holds the most important part of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entire customer experience journey, right?
Yes, yes, 100%.
And IFLs is interesting because you have managed to balance the traditional trust with modern experience, right?
Yes, see,
I think I have seen how your customer experience looks like personally as well. And it feels like it's traditional trust and also the modern experience.
we
How
have
have you kept
always,
that balance?
yeah, we have always believed in what is good for the customer. Customer is at the core.
Hmm.
So we have always evolved with technology. We have been the first one to get the technology from when we moved to IoT of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then first thing, we were the first mover. And even
Okay.
today, if you look at, we
Okay.
always evaluate for the technology from the customer perspective. We never look at for technology for the sake of it.
Hmm.
How it can add value to the customer is more important than which technology you are using.
Hmm.
That is the, I would say that is the biggest challenge you have to look at. How it is integrated to your existing systems, how you are able to train the technology to the current domains, how you are able to audit it regularly, and how
Hmm.
you are able to back it with the human support. It should be
Hmm.
seamless. It should not be a hindering factor, rather it should be complementary factor. See,
Hmm.
biggest challenge if you look at banks, what has been it has been frustrating to be on their IVR.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, you keep pressing, even now you keep pressing it, they will keep you rotating. You press 3, press 4, press 5. Then that is where technology has helped you to take it to the right person at the right time. Then most of the things I think can be resolved on the call itself. Nobody wants to be talked to someone because just to get a small issue. Unless until there is a breakdown in system, there is a bigger issue, he would like to talk to them. Most of the time, the mindset has changed. It is the cultural change everybody has to adopt. So
Hmm.
even customer mindset has changed. Now he is okay to talk to the machine if it is serving his purpose. So he is not adamant that I have to speak to the agent. But at the same time, if there is an issue, the human factor is available. That can never be replaced.
Makes
So
sense.
that is the my view, because now customer is not dependent on the timing that you should be available from 9 to 6 to address to him. He will like to have the issue address whenever he has the time. He
Yeah.
wants 24/7 service.
Yeah.
Same time, you wanted to be cost effective also.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
understand. So now challenge is use technology to deliver 24/7 service, cost efficient, consistent, and then uh, what else you need? Use analytics to deliver this. That is what the
Hmm.
whole challenge is all about.
Makes sense. And even with balancing all of this, I somehow feel that your experience has been like reliable like a bank, but it's still very fast, simple, and tech savvy like a startup, right? I'm sure it's a very hard task to manage, but you've done a great job in figuring out all of that.
See, please understand that if you are moving with the industry, you will not have those challenges as such, because we have been got on those shoes very easily. Because if
Hmm.
you are keep evaluating your processes,
Hmm.
it becomes a very simple. See, please understand now customer service has evolved. It
Yeah.
is no more a support function. Till date, if you look at even 5 years back, customer service has always been support function, which
Hmm.
help you to address client queries if he has, there's a breakdown. Now it is more of a strategic business enabler.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you look at customer, now customer service is not a back office call center.
Hmm.
It is now at the core of the business differentiator.
Okay.
So that is the biggest change, which influence retention, your cross sell, your brand trust. Everything depends on that. So it is not that key. See, if you look at today's boardroom, they discuss what is your CSAT, what is
Hmm.
your NPS. So it becomes sort of a topics to be discussed at the board level.
Hmm.
Look at the importance of voice of customer. Now, customer service or any other department cannot work on silos. So
True.
every department has to own the customer experience. So
Okay.
every touch point of the customer, whether it's a front office or department or product or technology, everyone has to own the customer service. It is not a department as of now. So
Hmm.
now the challenge is to get that human empathy through digital intelligence is the challenge.
That's very interesting point. Okay.
So
And you're talking about empathy in digital intelligence, right?
that is where that is the future is. Today we
Okay.
are looking at resolving automatically, but
Hmm.
today that machine factor come into picture. The empathy factor cannot come into picture because still it is a human thing.
Hmm.
Now, how you blend the two is the biggest thing.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
so that is how you use your predictive analysis in terms of changing the scenarios in terms of how you predict the client issues beforehand and how you give them that productive service, so that where the empathy will come into picture through technology. And how, see, now we are not talking about accuracy, compliance, turnaround, responsiveness. Now it's instant answers. And
Yeah.
how seamless is your journey? That is
Yeah.
very important. So the expectation, see, complaints will remain. Complaints will always remain.
Yeah.
Now it is that how you evolve with it, that complaints. How the resolution process has evolved with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So because the mindset has changed, so that is why your resolution technology. See, why any digital points have come into picture is because you want to be there where customer is. You don't want
Yeah.
customer to come to you. You want to go to the customer. That's why WhatsApp channel or any other channel come into picture. But when you are using that, then most important is, are you able to, once you have reached him, so are you able to profile him? Are you able to figure it out? That hyper personalization is still future. We are still treating a set of customers as a one segment. So my HNI is one segment, my retail is one segment. So it's still not one person, one market. It's still long way to go.
Makes sense.
When we reach that level, we are able to predict customer level analysis. I think that is what the future is all about.
Interesting. And now that we're talking about technology, Dharmender, because there's something our listeners always love, right? How is IIFL using AI or any kind of technology to make sure the customer experience is a delight? Can you take some examples that'd be great for people to relate?
Again, if you talk about technology, now the challenge is not the technology. More important is how technology is being used.
Yeah.
So we have clearly defined the segments.
Okay.
Like we have a retail segment purely. Who doesn't spend? See, there has been time when I have to run in IVR. What is your queue number? Your weight number queue is so and so, because you can have a limited number of a bandwidth in terms of call center.
Correct.
That game has gone already. People are comfortable in using voice bots. The voice bot gives you the scalability. Voice bot gives you the same answers. And if you look at it, 60 to 70% queries are not actually complaints. They just need information. And every time they need a convenience. If you are there in WhatsApp today, biggest challenge, biggest channel which is being used is WhatsApp for me, or it's simple FAQs, or it's simple my voice bot. So I am able to reduce the interaction with my agents to a larger extent, because they are ready to coordinate with the machine also. You ask anything, machine gives you prompt answers, it gives you email, it gives you answer, everything is available. Yes, at the same time, if you are facing an issue, it is seamless transfer to the agent. So he doesn't feel that he has been blocked. So he is welcome. So he should not ever time, he should feel that we don't want to talk to him. But he has to understand that he has to adapt to the technology. It takes time. Sometimes some people get frustrated why machine is talking to me. They have to understand that that is how the game is, because today that is how the scalability will come into picture. That's why that is the problem today you face with Amazon. If you today have an issue, you don't call them to talk to. Because they have still not figured it out. They are still give you the chat, they give you other options, but they don't have a call center. Their Uber doesn't have a call center. So if you are stuck, you are stuck. You don't know where to go. So those solutions they are still not brought in.
And you still believe in more. You still believe more in the customers having the ability to speak to someone. It could be an AI agent or it could be a human agent, but the customers having the ability to speak.
Again, that depends upon this segment. If suppose it's a HNI or ultra HNI customer, I would prefer him to speak to directly to the agent. And I don't want to, because look at the profile of the customer. I will use technology for him where he wants the certain set of reports that is available. He can take online immediately. If he needs certain information, it is available to him. But at the same time, if he calls me up, he is the most important customer to me. So where I don't mind putting people that let the bandwidth be there to handle him.
Hmm.
You have to understand the segment you are referring to or segment you are approaching with. So that human touch you can't avoid, but you have to understand how to use the human touch depending upon the segment you are referring to. So I am always available for HNI, ultra HNI customers. I don't mind putting bandwidth there because I know when he comes to me, it will be a critical issue. And he will not come for simple issues because we have already relationship managers for him at his doorstep to help him out. But
Hmm.
I will use technology for my relationship manager who can build reports, portfolios, analysis for him and go and talk to him and tell him that this is how we are using the technology. It can be whether, see, even if you have intelligence to do it, you use technology to deliver.
Hmm.
That is
True.
where it becomes important, where you add value to your HNI customers because the amount of money involved is huge there. So that is how segmentation becomes very, very critical in terms of technology.
Very interesting. And I love that the structure of how you structure that entire response in general. But that also brings me to a tricky question and maybe an afterthought. When do you not automate? When do you say that I would not automate and I still want humans to maybe continue the rest of? Maybe if you can take some example from IIFL journey or whatever, that'd be great relevance.
Look, even if you look at generally, not specific,
Hmm.
you will not like to automate areas where you need human empathy, where you need
Hmm.
human touch. See, suppose if there is a suppose there is a uh, system has gone down, you want to be available immediately to address that, right? He is not able to log in or he is not able to trade. That cannot be resolved on technology piece, right? You need to take his machine on remote and then get it fixed immediately. So there are areas where you need the intervention immediately. You have to understand that. You have to keep
Hmm.
a pass through to those issues. That is how your technology should be able to understand. If he
Hmm.
says he has a technical issue, your system should immediately be able to transfer the agent, knowing that he or she cannot help it. So we have created such a system, or there are certain some syntax, certain words which has been used. That if client use those words, you know that this is what can't do. But what can do is, if you look at the simple issues where there is no intervention required. So,
Hmm.
oh, this is readily available information. Can be fetched? Can be given to them? We understand that. But at the
Hmm.
same time, if you talk about that, uh, suppose there is a issue where you know that the human has to explain to him. It is not easily comprehensible. So
Hmm.
that where human intervention is required. So you can't
Okay.
automate that. So that will only lead to frustration. He will speak 10 times, God will not understand that.
Yeah.
So
True.
which is simple to understand, instant, that will give you a frictionless experience, that makes sense.
Okay. And this also takes me to this another point which I'm able to relate with IIFL is that it's a heavily regulated market, right? It's
Yeah,
very heavily regulated. SEBI, depositories, compliance becomes critical, right? Does that also influence the decision to automate, not automate? Do you have limitations around that?
definitely. So in financial services, very, very critical. See, customer wants frictionless experience,
Yeah,
immediate, fast, frictionless. But at the
yeah.
same time, if you look at regulatory, they want security, traceability, the track, the audit.
Hmm.
So it's most important is smart speed, not the blind speed.
Hmm.
See, what you need to do is, uh, I would say, speed must be responsible.
Hmm.
So it should be right definition as far as possible. Therefore, we cannot compromise on compliance. That
Okay.
is very clear. See, sometimes it can put off the customer also, but we have to explain him this is what is required. Sometimes,
Hmm.
I give an example, if a third party calling up saying that you give me the information of my parents or my mother, you can't give
Hmm.
it because you have to ensure that it's actually his or her mother for which is asking information. You have to talk to the person, take his authorization, and then allow him to speak. So that is where regulation becomes very important, especially in today's scenario where cyber crime is at the next level. The security, again, the trust come into picture.
Hmm.
So that is how to build trust. Is your processes will give that information, yes, you can rely on, because nothing will go out of the system without proper authorization.
Makes sense. And finance is one of those few industries where every interaction matters, right? So I'm
Yeah, you
guessing,
see, finance is involved, money is involved. So money is involved, it becomes more sensitive for
yeah,
everything to involve. That is
yeah,
where the customer has to be sensitive, and that becomes a challenge for us. When
yeah,
customer take it casually and does not take even some primary important step to validate,
yeah,
and he goes by generic, because there are too many dummy things going around, too many fake things going around.
yeah. True,
The
true.
judicious becomes very, very important. To
Makes sense.
validation becomes very, very important. For
Makes
example,
sense.
we keep sending a vehicle communication saying that go here, check here before you do any transfer of funds, before you do any. So we can as much communicate, but at the same time, the person whose money is involved has to be extra cautious about it. So that
Hmm.
judicious come into picture. So that is very critical.
Makes sense. And because we discussed about what can be automated and what cannot be automated, I think you already told us that in the parts where conversation can be automated, voice bot is already playing a very good role at this
Very
point.
big.
Yeah, and then you see that role increasing also in future. You see that equilibrium hitting to a stage where 80% is handled by an AI agent, and maybe only 20% of critical conversation goes to human.
I think I would not say whiteboard. I would say technology.
Hmm.
Even today, if I look at my APs, 80% is
Okay.
handled through DIY only, do it yourself.
Okay.
If I look at total interaction which customer has with, whether he
Hmm.
use my chat bot, whether he use my WhatsApp bot, whether he use my this voice bot, or whether he use my any other channel. If you look at
Hmm.
total interactions, probably hardly 20% which actually comes to me.
Hmm.
Otherwise, everything is handled through, because look at it, because it is available in the system. It is
Hmm.
that probably earlier what he has to do, log in, download, do it. Today, if he talks to my voice bot and tell me I need this particular statement, he'll go to his mail, khatam. So he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you go to WhatsApp and say, it is actually flows. If you go
Hmm.
and you want to have a reporting, click on the report and report is in your this thing. You don't have to do anything, because system recognizes your number, system recognizes you as a person and immediately provide you the information. So that authentication level has been built in there. So that is where, if today, even today, if you look at total digital interactions, we already
Hmm.
almost at 80%. I'm looking at probably will reach 90% handled by that. Because you look at technology is now stable. So you
Hmm.
don't have much of, I would say, hiccups also. You don't have much of problems in terms of day-to-day issues, because everything is
Hmm.
getting automated, everything getting seamless. So you will not have issues which used to be earlier, that there's a problem in this, there's a problem in this. So all those problems are getting sorted out unless until there's a breakdown.
Makes sense.
Otherwise on day-to-day you don't find those issues. So everything can actually be resolved through your digital channels. Only thing is,
Makes
when customer, my focus is, yes, if it is my ethnic customer, I use less technology in terms of interaction. I use more human in terms of, because his value to the time is different and
Hmm.
his requirement would be totally different,
Makes
because
sense.
he would be looking at a different interaction level where he needs a portfolio management. He will not come to me on day-to-day issues, because most of the day-to-day issues are handled by us only. So that is where the level of interaction will change.
Mhm. Got it. And for rest of the conversation that still has to bring in humans, how are you ensuring that your customer facing teams stay consistent with tone and then empathy has to be brought in? I'm assuming you still do millions of human conversations generally.
Yeah, see, in terms of where you talk about human intervention is required, it is completely seamless. So
Hmm.
when you know your bot is not able to understand, immediately transfer to the agent, because
Hmm.
he's talking either not in same lines what we are about to train on, or he is talking something bot not able to understand is definitely something which is critical to him. So that
Hmm.
is where the direct transfer to the agent, seamless transfer to the agent becomes very, very effective. So
Hmm.
it is always that you can't remove human from the interaction. That is very, very clear. And that is
Hmm.
never be the intention to remove them. It is
Hmm.
always to complement them.
Hmm.
It is not to close the problem. It is
Hmm.
always how you improve and
Hmm.
how you listen to the customer. So if
Hmm.
you get the issue, you get the issue fixed and you fix it in automated, so next time it doesn't come in. So
Hmm.
always go to the core and kill the issue from the core so that your issues will come keep reducing, and your
Hmm.
anyway that automation piece become more effective.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And then, towards wrapping up the conversation, because we have had discussion about the technology and how you are doing the complete customer experience. In your experience across different companies, the technology really helps customer service. Does the impact really comes on the business side? Because I have met a lot of people who say that you should make sure that the customer experience is great, but ensure profitability. So, do you really see AI going into that domain where it is now profitably helping customers?
If you look at from that's I already touched upon saying that now customer service is not the support function. Customer service is the core differentiator today. If you look
Hmm.
at the product service life has reduced, so your products get replicated within 2 to 3 months. So you don't have that uniqueness or a luxury that your product will be monopoly in next 6 months or 1 year or 10 years. Now it's hardly a month. You come with a product and it will get replicated immediately. So everybody will have it. So that differentiation has gone now. Now differentiation is in service. That how you interact, how you predict, and how you automate.
Hmm.
So technology has helped you to handle the high volume scalability game. It has helped you to differentiate yourself in terms of what else you can deliver from predicting the customer requirement. So how
Yeah.
effectively use it?
Hmm.
It is not only automation, it is intelligent automation which is required.
Hmm.
How now it's that how much value add you can do to the customer through technology.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it is that's where the customer value come into picture.
So
So
saying that it should not be looked just
yes,
as the cost center, should be looked at rather as a differentiator.
yes, it can never be cost center because your retainability, your differentiation, everything will come to service. And that is what the long-term sustainability which we discussed to begin with is a trust. So once
Makes
you are able to develop that, you are able to predict his requirement, you are going to be proactive, you are able to service upfront, the game is done. He will not leave you just because someone is providing some other product. Because product
yeah,
will be anyway will be available. See,
yeah.
customer is never complex. Only thing we get more complex. So if you keep it simple, it'll be easier to convince, easier to handle him, and easier him to satisfy him. So when we try to complicate things, that is where the customer gets frustrated.
No, makes sense. Make absolute sense. Uh, and you have been through multiple market cycles, Dharmendra, and a lot of regulatory changes, technological shifts as well. If you have to put up one important advice to somebody who's trying to lead customer experience in financial services, maybe specifically stockbroking, what would that be?
I think we have discussed a lot of things in this discussion. I think everything becomes very, very important. But most important is, I think, two pieces to it. Don't go for technology without understanding what you want to deliver. Look
Hmm.
customer and keep customer on the focus.
Hmm.
Then decide on the technology you want to deliver on. You
Hmm.
can have multiple touch points. Always look at how you to make it, the experiences consistent.
Hmm.
How to give the same, deliver same experience at different levels. And so that he doesn't feel the difference in the wherever he is approaching you. And finally, it ends up with how you keep building trust on every interaction you have with the customer. So it is like that. It's a circle. You have multiple touch points. So interaction with every touch point should deliver a better experience.
Hmm.
And that it is never a department. See, I
Yeah.
understand that if a customer is coming to customer service, he has already come to a place where he wants to uh, get remedy of. But ideally, it should never happen. It is that every interaction level, you are providing a service experience. That is what CX means.
Makes
So
sense.
at all the touch points, you have a same customer experience and you are improving on it,
Mhm.
then you are building trust.
Makes
Because
sense.
you don't know in customer life cycle which touch point will be one touch point where you will lose that customer.
True, true. So
So
everything should be contextual and should improve the experience further.
perfect.
Understood. Thanks for putting up time, Dharmender. This has been great learning from you and getting to understand the insights for over 30 years of your experience. And the leader like you are sort of moving it forward and taking it to the next step. Really looking forward to hear what else IIFL is going to do over the years.
Thanks, Ashish. It has been great talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dharmender.
Thank you.